increase in the number of people waiting to watch this.
I can't imagine that it hurt.
I mean,
Right?
that's right. And maybe they think I'm going to sing too.
The Madcap Adventures means you're gonna
Well,
sing.
I don't know what people think that they're going
Okay.
to get here, but
They're gonna get something.
yeah. They might think like it's just going to be me going, I am so great. I am so great. Everybody loves me. I am so great. That's probably what they think,
That's
right?
pretty much what you do. Right?
Hey, everybody, this is Matt. We're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. We don't really know what this show is going to be, but I think it's going to be more of a continuing of the question and answer thing. And but rest assured, the power half hour is still going to happen. It's just putting all of those balls in one sack, putting all of those puzzle pieces together such that they jive is a little tricky. So
Because it's not just yours and my
no,
balls.
no, no,
There's
no.
other people's balls
There's
involved.
so many balls.
You got band balls.
Yep.
You got recording balls.
Yeah. Speaking of balls, let's take this great opportunity to thank our wonderful sponsors. Uh, um, because who wouldn't want to be part of this action? Let me tell you who would want to be part of it.
Who wouldn't want their balls in this basket?
The good people at Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. If you're in the Denver, Colorado area, go check them out and say hey to Ike and Dylan and Nico and MJ and all the other cool people who might be hanging around there. And if you're really lucky, you may even win a chance to see Chris and I there because we go in every so often. If you're not in Denver or you're up like past my bedtime, you can still shop Flipside Music online. They have everything on the website ready to go. Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. Thank you guys.
We're going to be there tomorrow, aren't we?
No, Ike's going to come here tomorrow,
Oh, that's right.
drop off some parts.
Yeah. So I was going to ask if we were going to wear our Texas Toast windbreakers.
Yeah.
So people could,
so people
spot
would
us,
know that we
know
were
who
the.
it was.
No, but we should have Texas Toast
should have, yeah.
satin
You can
windbreakers.
check us out at our Texas Toast Windbreakers Saturday at Flipside Music, the great American guitar store.
If that's all it took, wouldn't that be awesome?
A windbreaker?
No, yeah, well, yeah, like to just say, you can see me in a jacket at a place.
At a grocery
At
store
a
opening.
grocery
I'll be the guy in the Texas Toast Windbreaker.
I'd also like to thank John and Cheryl at Bitterroot Guitars. If you type in TXTOAST at checkout, you get 15% off your entire order from Bitterroot Guitars. They're good people. I'd also like to thank Dan and Calvin at Guitarwood Experts. I need to call Dan and get some more pieces because we only have quite a few ash bodies, but they're all going to go away really fast. And of course, last but not least, our regular sponsor, Aquacoat. If you guys are interested in Aquacoat, you can type in Texas Toast 10 at checkout and get 10% off your Aquacoat purchase. If I'm missing someone, I'll circle back around. So, Chris, how are you?
I'm good.
We switched beers today.
We did. Yeah, we're drinking Dos Equis.
Mm-hmm.
Lager Especial. We went
This
to a
is-
new liquor store.
This probably isn't good enough even for this. This probably still isn't good enough for trash talking Brad Angove at
I don't even think they have
at
Dos Equis.
BA Bad Attitude Guitars.
I don't think they have Dos Equis in Canada, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel
If
sorry
they do,
for
I'm
those guys,
sorry.
though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought that. I don't know.
We would like to do a live stream with Brad. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, we need to figure out how to do it and when to do it.
It's going to be easy. We're going to contact Ben Coombs and see if he can't help us out. Because he's got it sorted out.
He's
No,
got it
not
sorted
not
out,
like he can't.
yeah.
He doesn't go to Brad's.
Right.
They're both in Canada, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that would be a fun thing to do because we like Brad, even though we like to smack talk him. He
Yeah.
likes to smack talk us too. So yeah.
Is
so-
he doing the 2021?
Oh, I don't know
I've
if
been
he
seeing
is.
more and more stuff on the GGBO 2021,
Okay.
and I don't know. I've seen some people that are participating. I suppose he would be one of the.
He would be a whatever
what
they
do
call it now.
Yeah, the invitational.
mm-hmm.
He would be an invitation.
Yeah. You know, people ask me like, or they say to me that they were bummed out that we're not doing it this year, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
when you're the best, it's kind of an insult to prove it.
We're proving it every
Twice, yeah, I mean twice in a row. I mean, come on.
week. Every Friday we prove it again.
Prove it again.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, no, looking forward to seeing what happens with the Great Guitar Build Off, and if you guys know, let us know. There's some questions coming in, aren't there?
Are there?
Somebody was wanting to know when we lay out a bridge, where do we put the saddles? Do we put them like middle of the? And this is a question that we get all the time. Position the bridge such that the saddles are in the middle of their travel, and that's right on the scale length. So if you're doing a bridge that has a long throw of a saddle, put the saddle in the middle of the screw, put the saddle right at 25 and a half or 25 or 24 and 3/4, whatever your scale length is, and then that will give you enough to intonate. Cool?
Yep.
What in the hell's going on with this bad dude here? This is a monster bit.
You broke it.
Well, I think our rub collar on our shaper finally took a dump.
Yeah.
It still spins, but it kind of has some rattly stuff to it, and it gave a really reassuring ka-thunk every time it would start up. So that was not something that we wanted. So we ordered some new parts for this, and I was looking at it, I'm like, I bet you this weighs more than your scale will do.
Okay, what do you think it weighs?
Well, first of all, what's the bet for?
Popeyes.
Lunch at Popeyes.
Lunch at Popeyes.
Okay.
The traditional Texas toast bullshit bet.
So here's what I bet. I
Okay.
bet you lunch at Popeyes that it's so heavy your scale won't even pick it up.
Okay, I think this scale will do 11 pounds, 12 pounds.
All right,
let's find out real quick.
All right, let's see. This is
Exciting,
the
riveting television.
Yep. Okay,
There's
let's
10.
see. Has anybody
Okay,
been able
so
to get
11.
17-inch truss rods from Bitterroot? Randy, I have not been able to get 17-inch truss rods from Bitterroot. So you know what I did? I got the next size down, and they're about. In fact, I'm going to show you what. Okay, you measure, and I'm going to go get a visual aid.
I think it weighs 9.5 pounds.
Okay.
We are weak.
How much does it weigh?
5 pounds.
Really?
4.92.
Huh? It's so compact.
Yeah.
I tell you what, when that thing gets to spinning. All right, so Randy, here's a 17-inch Bitterroot truss rod, and here's the next size down. I think it's 16. I want you to see. I think go ahead and get the 16. Okay. All right. What do you guys think about Grover tuners? They're not my favorite.
No. I used to think they were okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I've run into several sets that I didn't think were okay.
I think maybe in the 70s, putting Grovers on something was a little bit of an upgrade. Now
Versus
putting Grovers on something is
Broken
like,
Clusons?
yeah. Now
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I used to think they were kind of cool looking. And
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't like them that much anymore.
I always liked the smaller buttons, so I never really thought that the
Oh,
Grovers
really?
looked neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the standard thing you did to a Les Paul.
That's right.
Every Gibson at some point.
You put Grovers on
Needed
it,
Grovers.
a brass nut, and a DiMarzio Super Distortion. Of
Yeah.
those three things, I like one of them. So yeah. It was pretty much Shallers and Grovers for a long time were the only real choices that you had. And the Shallers were like worlds better than Grovers back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And
So
then
Shaller's the one that made all the Fender stuff.
did they?
For a long time?
Okay.
Yeah. And I've seen the funny thing is how many guitars you see without the original tuners, and the new tuners were put on by somebody that shouldn't have been putting tuners on the guitar. You know, they're just jacked up and hogged out and just wrecked, and you're like, was it really worth destroying this headstock to put those tuners on it
Yeah.
versus whatever was on there before?
I am a mega fan of the Hipshot tuners, and Josh at Hipshot is super cool to us, and we're actually Hipshot distributors. Not that that means anything right now because they have very limited output capacity
Yeah,
since the COVID
yeah.
thing. There, you know, and I actually asked Josh about being a content sponsor, and he said, "Well, I can't do that because you know they have deals with all their people that they won't discount stuff more." So I'm like, okay, that's cool. But he did say, "I tell you what, I'll get you guys the best pricing that I can because we talk about Hipshot a lot." And one of the neat things about a Hipshot tuner set now is you can get, they call them like retrofit, or they have a name for them. You know what I'm talking about? The little tray that the tuners
Oh
go
yeah,
in.
I forget what they call it, but yeah, that's really neat actually.
Yeah, if you have a guitar that is an old guitar and you don't want to drill any new holes in,
Or you want to cover up a bunch of previously poorly drilled holes.
Yep.
That's my favorite part.
that's a good one too. The Hipshot stuff, you can. It's got this kind of neat mounting system. I've done a video on it before, and it's this way to hold the tuners in place without drilling any new mounting holes.
Yeah,
and it works great.
Each tuner holds another tuner, basically.
Yeah.
So that it can't turn, and it looks clean. It
Yep.
covers up a multitude of sins.
Yep.
You can always switch back to whatever you had on there.
Yeah, you can
before
put the
if you wanted
craptastic
to.
tuners that you
Yeah.
didn't like in the first place back on.
Yeah.
Or if you have a vintage guitar that has a busted tuner and you want to still play it, that's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
alternative. And then, yeah.
The other thing they have is they have those, you know, the Fender tuner with the two little posts.
Yes.
They make that tuner in there with their gears in it.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, so you can upgrade your
Oh.
American standard
Oh,
stuff
neat.
or your American professional stuff that have those Fender tuners with Hipshot stuff.
And I love the
without
Hipshot
drilling
tuners,
a bunch
too.
of new holes either.
God, they're awesome.
They turn really nice.
Yeah, they do.
And they're really not that expensive.
No.
In the world of really expensive hoochie guitar parts, they're relatively inexpensive.
Oh,
And they
unless you
work
pay
fantastic.
full retail for them.
Well, even then, they're not ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, you could spend more.
Randy says, I sent you the whole album. I saw that you did, Randy, but I haven't had a chance to listen to the whole thing yet. But thank you for doing that, sir. Let's see. I upgraded mine to Hipshot last year. Thank you very much, Tim. Is the toaster plugged in, Chris?
It is cordless.
Not everyone knows what this is.
It's an amp.
It sounds best set on bagel. I think,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
really my favorite setting is bagel. It's an amp, yeah. That guy made for us and sent it to us.
I forget.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person.
If I see his name, I'll remember.
It's one of my favoriteest things in the whole world.
Yeah.
That and the trophy that
And-
Brad sent us.
He sent it with the sticker already on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool.
Chris, Jay wants to know, what is your favorite way to finish an all mahogany guitar? I'm gonna add a caveat: all mahogany, solid body guitar.
Okay. What's my favorite way to finish it?
Favorite way?
Like just color?
I don't know.
I like to be able to see the wood, so I would usually default to some sort of sunburst finish.
Okay.
Probably. Or some sort of something you can see the wood. I like, like red SGs, I think are really sharp looking.
That's a cool.
The brown
finish.
one's a little less so. Sunburst is cool. Maybe some sort of color that you could still see through.
I'm actually looking at a guitar that's a one-piece mahogany that I had originally planned to do a tobacco burst, and now I'm like, maybe we should do something crazy, like a cool color. The downside is it's a one-piece mahogany body, and I'm like, but wood is not holy. I used to think that it was,
Yeah.
and now I don't. Now I think that cool guitars are holy, and what they're made out of has very little to do with why they're cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because you don't want to cover up good wood.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's not like it's the last one you're ever gonna make.
Well, that sort of begs the question then, why did you use that wood in the first place? If you want to paint it a cool color, why not use,
Yeah.
something that's easy to get and not
Yeah,
then it's paint
yeah,
grade.
yeah. Something that we don't always do is plan a guitar out from start to finish, and we leave some things open ended, like what
Yeah.
color are we gonna paint it?
Yeah.
And versus if you said, okay, I'm gonna make a guitar that's gonna be bright green.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is also very, very possible that we get a cool color and go, oh, we got to paint this on something immediately. What do we got? I know,
That's
that
not
quilted
true.
maple. Yeah, well, it's not
Yeah.
quilted maple, but
Yeah.
we got some green that looks a lot like this bottle, and I'm dying to use it on something. And I think I know the candidate is right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. That'll be cool.
if anyone knows Yingling green, or if any of you guys watched my Tamco video yesterday, should we show them the guitars that I'm thinking about doing? Do you guys want to see those? You guys want to see them, don't you?
Hey, nobody said anything. I couldn't hear them.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll show them off. You want me to grab one?
Let's just move the camera.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So guys, what I'm going to show you guys a couple of guitars, and I want you to see the two that I have in mind, and I want you guys to tell me which one you think would be cool, or what a cool color would be. What a cool color for any of these guitars would be. So I think this one in that Yingling green would be really cool. It's got a maple neck, so I think I'm thinking maybe leave the neck, but do the body in that cool Yingling green pearl. And then I've got two Lawler P90s for this. That could be very cool. The other one is this guy right here, which is I sort of did as a test, and it's going to need something to cover up this, which that Yingling green would certainly do. But it's got a go ahead.
We could leave that green spot and
And then
paint it
bloop.
everywhere else and go,
Yeah.
ooh, look, you can see the
Ooh,
grain.
Yeah, but it's got this maple top that I actually kind of dig. And I wonder, like, what if it had a maple, like a see-through green and green on the back? Would that be too crazy? I don't know. So this could be a very cool guitar. Andy the Saint says he already wants this one, so I don't know. He also said it was painter's choice. So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Moving on. I like going on a little field trip every so often. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, see, people are already talking about what cool things we could do with that. See-through green, hollow body would be good in the green. Had a 90s Hammer USA special that was... Oh, man, I love Hammer specials. You guys know that. They start selling Yingling in Texas this winter. Do they? I remember spending a bunch of time in a bar in Rockville, Maryland called Hank Deedle's. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. And I drank a lot of Yingling beer there. I don't remember it being as good as Shinerbach, which is what they have a lot of in Texas.
Yeah. I think you get used to your regional beer.
Yeah,
Like-
I think so.
Like, yeah, if you're in Texas and you grow up in Texas, or you drink a lot of Shiner, and that's your first beer. Because I know people that like some pretty rugged beers. Everybody gives us a hard
Yeah.
time for liking Coors Light or Coors, but I've known people that thought that Schaefer's was the good stuff.
I can't explain it.
It's awful. So, yeah.
All right, let's see if there's any questions but guys, ask us anything.
It's
I don't
not
care if
beer
it's
related?
Oh, ask us about beer.
Yeah.
Oh no, PBR or a Lone Star. I do like Lone Star too, but I think I just like the idea of Lone Star.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scroll up to the top and see if there's anything
Okay.
that that we missed. Have you guys ever tried electroplating as a finish? I know there's a specialist paint that you can use on wood to do it. We have not. Ken Tipton wants to know how we are today. Hi, Ken. How are you?
We are good.
Yeah.
No, we're fairly traditional when it comes to finishes on guitars. As far as we like to paint them, and we like bright colors, and we like vintagey kind of tones, and that's that.
What's your favorite? So I kind of lean towards a sunburst finish. Because I kind of think I'm kind of more of a Gibson. Or that a set neck guitar, which would be Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Hamer, which aren't the same, but they kind of fall into that same category.
Yeah.
What's your go-to, like, if you had to pick, what's your desert island guitar finish? That's a silly thing.
I don't. Probably some sort of color. I don't know. The funny thing about that is, you know, in the Gibson world and Hamer and that the sunburst is the classy upscale finish. In the Fender world, for a lot of the guitars, that's the standard finish.
That's right.
And nobody wants it.
Yeah, no one wants just that. Yeah.
You offer up a Stratocaster in 3-tone sunburst, and everybody goes,
Wah, wah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And then you paint it ice metallic blue, and everybody wets their pants.
And especially if you have ice metallic blue and then you wear a big hole in it so you can see the sunburst. Everybody digs that.
Yeah. So
Jacob says, trying to do my first rattle can paint job, I'm getting some runs, and when I sand at them, I keep going through the entire layer of paint. Any tips for avoiding that? Or how to fix it when it does happen?
I think, you're first try not to get any runs in it the next time that you spray it. You're putting too much paint on it. Stand back a little bit more and mist it on a little bit lighter. And trying to sand a run out, especially with something like a one thin coat, trying to sand a run out without affecting the rest of the paint is pretty hard. You have to go at it with a block of wood, and you have to go very gently and with not a lot of grit.
You ever take a razor blade and
razor
scrape
blade
at them when you
can work too, but eventually you got to hit it with a block, and almost always you'll sand all the way through if it's in color coat, and it's just one layer. So practice not getting runs in it.
I mean, that's kind of a
sounds,
sucky thing to say, but
but it really is true. If you can not put runs in it, it will make your life a lot easier, and you can not get runs in it.
Here is a couple of good questions here.
Okay.
One is, do you folks ever use dye on mahogany backs, then grain fill and clear coat? Any other suggestions for finishing mahogany backs? All the best. So that's Dawgs says that. You want to field this one, or you want? Because I actually know the answer to this.
Go ahead, Mr. Flaherty.
No. We don't ever put stain on mahogany.
Yeah, no, we don't.
You know what we do?
Put stain on wood.
Yeah. We seal it and then put translucent color over the sealer and then put clear on it.
The only thing that I would, and we haven't done it, but I've been interested to try it, is to come up with some sort of cool, kind of that dog hair finish.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah. But that's not just putting some stain on it.
Really, the only guitar bodies that we put stain on are ash bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the color they're going to get.
Yeah, we do dye.
That's right,
dye.
not stain, but dye.
And, yeah, because it takes it pretty well. I think mahogany would take stain too, but it's just going to get darker.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
One of the neat things with mahogany is if you do something over the top of the sealed wood, you can actually make it look lighter.
Yeah.
You can make it look less brown and a little more orange or yellowy, ambery kind of a color, which is pretty interesting.
And anytime you put dye or stain on something, you're not guaranteed that you're not going to get a blot. You're not going to guarantee you're going to get a homogeneous finish. You can get blotchy stuff. If you have any glue on the wood, it's going to look like a big blob of glue, and you can't see it. You know, even when you're sanding it, you cannot see a lot of that stuff. If you seal it and then spray translucent color or candy finishes over it, you get exactly the same color everywhere, and that's what you're going for. And a lot of people ask me all the time, yeah, what sort of dye and stain should I use? None. You should use none.
Yeah.
Let's see. Necro Whisperer wants to know, have you ever made, this is a good one.
Okay.
Have you ever made a guitar without a truss rod?
No.
I
have
have.
never. You have?
Mm-hmm.
Without any truss rod
Oh,
at all?
no.
Or without an adjustable truss
Without
rod?
an adjustable truss
Yeah,
rod.
I have made a neck with a steel bar running through it.
That is a
Truss
truss rod.
rod small enough. Yeah.
Where does that come from, Chris? Where does
the whole
the
idea?
yeah,
of
the
that?
notion of why do I want a guitar with no truss rod?
Well, I think at this point, the only guy that has a guitar like that is Bill Kirchen, right?
Well, every classical guitar player in the world just about has one too.
Okay.
But you're talking about nylon strings versus
Yeah,
steel
yeah.
strings. So.
Well, I think, I don't know. So the original Telecasters, and I don't know how many of them they made, without a truss rod, not very many, and I think there's even fewer around because necks started going bad right away from what I've read, and lots of those original necks got replaced within a month or two with a neck that had a truss rod in it. But I think people think that there must be something magic about those guitars.
There isn't.
No, there is an unplayable guitar, maybe. That's pretty magical.
Happy Meal, yeah.
But from what I've read, the Fender guitars without a truss rod, and there's very, very few, started going bad almost immediately. As soon as they started shipping them any place other than next door.
Yeah, where the humidity was exactly the same.
Irwindale, it went bad. So
People do this a lot. They mistake what you can do and what you want to do with an acoustic guitar or a classical guitar with what you can do or what you want to do with an electric guitar.
okay.
I've said it at least 3 times. The similarities with an acoustic guitar and electric guitar is they can have the same number of strings and they can be tuned the same. Other than that, they are wildly different kettles of fish. The electric guitar, you really want to be as sturdy as you can make it. However, the more fragile an acoustic guitar is, the more lively it is. That's just the way it goes. So, and tapping on boards, that's dumb for solid body electric guitars. It's what happens is people see like master luthiers, like the real guys who are like tuning a soundboard, which is nothing like what happens when you tap on a piece of wood holding it up like this. Truss rods are the same thing. I think people go, there were some Fenders made with no truss rods. They must be awesome. Or my classical guitar doesn't have a truss rod, so I want the same sound, same awesome sonic signature out of my electric guitar. I know, I'll not put a truss rod in there. Nah, wrong. Do not do that ever. So yeah, so keep in mind that they're very similar instruments in many ways and very different instruments in others. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
In the Dan Erlewine book, where he chronicles all the setups of everybody's guitars, the Bill Kirchen pine neck without a truss rod, he said is wildly bowed.
Okay.
Has a huge amount of relief in it.
And isn't it like 1.25 inches?
It's almost it's
Okay.
1 1/8 thick
Okay.
at the first fret. It's
Yeah.
titanic.
Yeah.
It's like a baseball bat.
Yep.
So yeah. I think having something, especially something made out of wood that's got some adjustability to it for straightness, is a very, very good thing.
Yeah. Why would you not want
Yeah,
that?
we've seen necks change over the course of a couple of days, even with a truss rod. That if it didn't have a truss rod, that would be the end of that guitar.
Yep.
You'd have to cut the neck off or do something drastic.
Let's see. There's a bunch of things coming in, guys. If I'm missing your questions and comments, it's not because I don't like you. It's because there's a lot of them, and I just can't see them all. The guy in New York City at Kelly's Guitars makes Telly styles without a truss rod, but they also use 100-year-old reclaimed wood. Terrific. Does anybody really give a toss about that? I mean, like, it's a
Old
cool
wood?
thing.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing to say, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't. They better fuck and
bet
suck
you-
for that. If like for boutique money like that, I'm sure he's
I'll
charging.
bet you that it comes with some conditions too.
Mm-hmm.
You must use these strings and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's not going to make any difference.
No.
You know, the greatest sounding guitars in the world all have truss rods.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Mark says, "Who dis falking guy?" I think he's talking about you.
Me? Hey.
What do you guys think about older wood for body versus new? I think as long as the wood is good, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I mean,
and then,
if it's old wood and it sucks, then don't use it.
yeah, old just for old isn't any good.
No.
It's all half rotten, and you have to fill it with a bunch of stuff to make a guitar with it.
Yeah, or there's a bunch of nail
But,
holes.
Yeah,
Or, yeah.
Uh-huh. But I don't think, and once again, this goes back to that whole sound and all of that.
Yeah.
You can't convince me that old wood sounds any better than new wood on an electric guitar.
No, me either. And the whole notion of, I think that old buildings are every bit as cool as old guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start talking about let's save some old buildings rather than old guitars, or in addition to old guitars.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
old guitars are cool just because
Yeah.
they're old and they've been around.
Yeah.
I like lots of old things. I am an old thing.
You are.
But I don't necessarily think that the stuff made, certainly guitars, you know, the stuff made back then is any better than the stuff made today. It's just slightly different.
Remember when we were driving back from Summer NAMM and we drove through like Kansas City,
Uh-huh.
and that eastern part of Kansas City, and it was like old buildings.
Really
I mean,
cool.
not like, you know, like 16th century,
Stone and brick.
but neat
Yeah.
old buildings that were basically falling down. And I thought, God, that sucks, man, because these.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is the neighborhoods are kind of, you know, the sketchy, or well, I don't really know, but I think that, what do you think's cooler, a 100-year-old or 150-year-old building, or a 100-year-old or 150-year-old guitar? I think they're both equally neat.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, well, this is a whole other thing. Saving the building just because it's old, especially if it's not
Oh,
anything,
yeah.
unfortunately, is, yeah. But yeah.
I look at my house. My house was built in 1960.
Mm-hmm.
My house is not as cool as, you know,
A 60s.
a 60s
anything.
anything. Yeah, guitar wise. I mean, it's okay, but it's a box.
Yeah.
But like some of those buildings that are just, it's too bad that they're getting torn down. And I think it's cool, anyone who repurposes that wood in there.
Mm-hmm.
But do I seek it out? I definitely do not seek it out. Sometimes we use wood because it's available, and sometimes we use wood because, you know, we got a really awesome deal on it. And if you've got something like that, then I say go for it. Yep. Okay. Let's see. That Tool coaster. Oh yeah. So Donald Falk says is the guy who built the toaster.
The toaster, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Donald.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know why I don't remember.
I knew his
everything,
last
but
name
yeah.
started, yeah. For some reason, I was thinking it was Fisher.
We should write it on there.
We should.
What kind of speaker
If
is in
only-
the toaster? I don't know.
If only we had some sort of machine that makes stickers.
Yeah. Falkify.
Yeah, we could do that. What kind of speaker?
I think it's a
that kind of
2-inch
speaker.
Celestian greenback.
Yeah, creamback.
Creamback. That's
It's
right.
got
yeah,
a more
sorry.
American tone.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm searching for 2-inch speakers,
You think
I'm looking at Celestian.
Celestian
or
creambacks.
Warehouse or
Whatever.
JBL.
Yeah. Kenneth says, wouldn't old wood 50+ years old be more seasoned and therefore more stable? Yeah, probably.
Maybe. Depends on where it is.
Mm-hmm.
What's it been doing? Yeah. So.
But that is not to say that wood that's not 50 years old is completely unsuitable either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I,
I think the number one thing that you want wood to not do is move around.
yeah.
And as long as it's stable enough to not move,
Wait, until you want it to move around.
well,
So
yeah.
imagine, because what people are, someone's going to go, what about an acoustic top? You want that to move around? Well, yeah. So you're not talking about that.
No, we're not. We're talking about solid body guitars. And I could even see where old wood being used for an acoustic top might be of some sort of benefit.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, grow rates and things like that have changed on some of that stuff, and that could affect the way an acoustic guitar sounds.
Sure. Or the stability of it.
Yeah. But for an electric guitar, you don't want to cut out the body and come back the next day and it's got a bow to it.
And that has happened to us, has it not?
Yeah, a little bit with some beetle kill pine.
Mm-hmm. We've even had mahogany that we thought was drier than it was.
Yeah,
and it started to go
moved around a little bit. Yeah. But other than that, and I don't know that old wood would necessarily be. It just depends on where it's been and what it's been up to.
Yeah.
So it's been stacked outside the shed. It's probably not red hot. So.
Or maybe it is red hot.
Maybe it's perfect.
Let's see. What do you guys think of dual truss rods, like in Rickenbacker? I think that a dual truss rod, like in a Rickenbacker, is not doing what they tell you it's doing. So remember, a truss rod is not designed to move a neck. It's designed to hold a neck in a spot. So if what you're trying to do is keep a neck from moving, adding more, I said that wrong. If what you're trying to do is keep a neck from going like this, a truss rod can help with that. If what you're trying to do is keep a neck from going like this, then any number of truss rods, if you have a sucky piece of wood, any number of truss rods won't help. You can put steel or carbon fiber in there that don't adjust and do the same thing. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Have you ever seen
I'm not
one
all
in
that
action?
familiar with what it's doing. I can't imagine that there's not a better solution for it now.
Yeah.
And I think they probably just keep doing it now out of tradition.
The same reason that Gibson uses 14-degree headstock angle.
Yeah.
People want it.
Uh-huh. And, So
imagine if you had a truss rod. Rickenbacker doesn't use a truss rod like this. But imagine you had this truss rod and flanked on either side were steel or carbon fiber rods, stiffening rods. You would achieve more than the same thing because of the orientation of this flat bar here. You could orient a rod of whatever material you wanted to use such that it was more difficult to bend it and get better than the same thing from that, I think. Okay, I got to get my danger glasses on.
jeez.
My fabric top telly I built bowed after the top was applied. I burning it soon. Sorry, Randy. I don't know why that happened, but quarter sawn versus flat sawn, bigger issue in the neck stability. Can you vamp on quarter sawn versus flat sawn for a second?
No.
I need to get a visual aid.
Most people seem to prefer quarter sawn as the preferred grain orientation for a neck. Speaking of bender style mostly, but I know plenty of flat sawn necks that are just fine, more than fine.
Yeah, I think flat sawn necks get a bad rap. Quarter sawn is neat, and guys, without getting too nerdy here, because I can really nerd out on this.
He can. I've seen it.
There's a lot of differences between vertical grain necks, or vertical grain lumber and quarter sawn lumber. Every piece of wood that you find that has the grain going straight up and down may or may not be quarter sawn. We should do another video on this. The reason that you would want a neck made with quarter sawn lumber, theoretically is, if you imagine this is the piece of grain and it's flat like this, that is to say you look at the board here and the grain goes this way, it is easy for the grain to bend this way. If you have your grain oriented up and down, it is harder for the grain to bend that way. So plus you get a lot. I love the way quarter sawn lumber looks.
I think that's the big part of it.
Anymore, yeah. But remember, quarter sawn is not the same as vertical grain. And if someone says, I got this vertical grain, it's probably not quarter sawn. The amount of lumber that's quarter sawn in 2021 is so rare that you will not find it. You will find lumber that just so happens to be vertically oriented, but it is not quarter sawn 9 times out of 10. Okay? And we can deep dive into that one day if you guys are really, really want to be bored.
Because you can cut, if you take a round piece and you start cutting it flat, eventually you're going to end up with some vertical grained pieces.
Yeah,
you're going to end up with flat, less flat.
Oddly enough, live sawing like that is very rare too. The reason guitar builders buy nothing compared to furniture makers.
Yeah, the amount of wood.
Maybe we should do a live thing one day where it's just me talking about grain.
Yeah.
God, that'd be boring.
Yeah,
God, if you guys think that would be fun, let me know.
We could do that and the truss rod lecture back to back.
Like I could make everyone go to sleep.
Yeah.
Easy.
Wake up 3 hours later.
Yeah.
What just happened?
No, here's one. Truss rods suck. No, so Necro Whisperer, you asked me a question, and really what you wanted to do was kind of bait me into answering the way that you knew I was going to answer. You're a master at it. So now he goes on to say, truss rods suck. You hollow out the neck and weaken it at the headstock.
No, we don't.
My friend, no. Go back to the forum that you read and have fun there, because you're going to get nothing but dissension from us. You do not weaken the neck by adding a truss rod. But if you think you do, have a good time. Are figured neck woods more prone to warping? Yeah, figured woods are more prone to everything than non-figured.
I think
woods.
a lot of that figure is, I don't want to say disease, but anomalies in the wood. And yeah, probably cleaner, clearer, wood is less likely to move around than something with a bunch of stuff in it.
Hold on, I want to give Necro one more shout out. He says, my guitars are awesome. No rod. Everybody go over and check out Necro Whisperer's guitars and buy them all because they're awesome. My friend, that's all I can do for you. We can disagree and still be buddies, but you're never, ever, ever going to convince me that a guitar with no truss rod, unless it's a classical guitar, and maybe yours are, kick ass, because, yeah. Anyway. Rick, truss rods are great for people who want to spend all afternoon adjusting truss rods. Yeah, Frank, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Are you as much or any of a truss rod geek as I am?
No, I'm not. It's a lot like anything else. Does it function? And with truss rods now, not only does it function, is it easy to access? Am I going to scratch up the guitar?
Do I have to disassemble the guitar?
Adjusting the truss rod. Yeah, potentially chip a bunch of paint, or to adjust the truss rod.
Yeah.
And I used to think, well, I don't necessarily like heel adjust truss rods, but I liked the way the headstock looked just in a traditional way.
I did.
But it was such a pain in the ass that half the time I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It was like it had to be really bad to pull the neck off and adjust it. Even if it was easy, I was still sort of freaked out that I was going to chip up the guitar. You know?
I think that like right now, if you have a truss rod that is less accessible, you're gonna get no end of shit for that. You know what I mean?
As a maker?
Yeah. Now, unless you're
probably.
Fender,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
Fender
you're making-
has such they have such a great history of doing cool stuff that people give them a
Once-
pass on because
Yeah.
they want the historically
Yeah.
correct.
Once
thing.
I figured out what was going on, I thought that the Fender Bullet truss rod was ingenious because it's
Yeah.
super easy to access.
Yep.
It's right there. It was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I don't have to take the neck off the guitar. Okay.
How do you feel about the wheel?
The wheel is cool. It seems like that's a newer idea. And
But it's really not. I mean,
no,
yeah.
newer meaning the 80s.
Well, but even
Or-
I've seen, and I know you've seen some Japanese guitars from the '60s.
Yeah,
that
with
had-
something similar to that.
Yeah, something not.
Yeah, and
dissimilar.
that's pretty cool. The funny thing is, that it's not, in some ways, not more popular because in a lot of ways it really does kind of disappear under the strings.
See, I always see it,
Do you?
and while I can appreciate the utility, I'm not a fan of the aesthetic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
but
get
some
it.
some designs have kind of incorporated that into their aesthetic, which is also
Yeah,
cool.
well, yeah, and that's the other. I've seen some like Ernie Balls and
Yeah.
stuff like that, where it's really well done and really it's not just an afterthought, and it's like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. It's in between the 21st and 22nd fret. And it's like, oh, that's actually kind of neat.
Yeah.
That's really well done. I like that. So, yeah.
Aren't multi-laminate necks stronger and more stable? Yes. Generally speaking.
Cool.
Let's see. I think a three-piece neck works best for little. So for little warp or bow, you can absolutely structurally stabilize a neck with different grain orientations, and you should. If you're having trouble getting lumber that's what you want, you need to, or that's dry enough, get thinner lumber and glue it together. We did that whole series on the Hamer stress neck. That was basically what Hamer did. So.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. All right, Chris. This next question is all for you.
All for me. All right.
J. Pete says, I want to make a triple humbucker but don't want to use a pick guard. What reasons are there either way for the swimming pool route? I didn't even know what question was going to be. I just knew,
triple humbucker, but no pick guard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get the question.
He wants to know why he would or would not use a swimming pool route. That's the real takeaway.
Okay, well, without
I
a pick
want
guard...
to. So let me read it one more time. I want to make a triple humbucker, but don't want to use a pick guard.
Okay.
What reasons are there either way for the swimming pool route?
Well, if you have three humbuckers in a big giant hole in the middle of your guitar, it's going to look a little goofy.
It's going to look homemade.
Yeah. If you use a pick guard on that same swimming pool route, then you can... It's trim, and it'll look right.
What if you had three rings that were all scrunched up together so that they were all like touching?
Well,
essentially,
if the route if the route wasn't crazy wide and you could get all the humbuckers in, and that would be okay. Yeah. Or you could just put three humbucker routes in and do it like that, and then it would look right. But if it's a big swimming pool route and you just screw humbuckers to it, it's gonna look like a pickup test guitar.
That's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's gonna look like you.
It's gonna look unfinished and unright because you can't use trim rings because you got a swimming pool route.
Yeah. Okay. You're not going to see me claiming I have no rod on public forum. Thanks, Martin. Let's see. The Three Sons guitar still question how much worth a truss rod has when 2 carbon fiber rods are added, do you lose adjustability? Surprisingly, no. We build base necks with steel bars on the sides of the truss rod, and they're very adjustable. So do not worry about that.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, the truss rod has to work less hard because really all you're aiming at is a straight board or a
Yeah.
straight fingerboard, right? Flat fingerboard. And so if you've got steel rods in there or carbon fiber rods, it's probably holding that neck a whole lot straighter than if they weren't there, a whole lot flatter. So the truss rod just doesn't have to do the heavy lifting that it would without it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing too how much force and leverage you can put on something. You know what I mean? If this were long enough and I was here and it was fixed here, we could absolutely bend this. You know, but no one's neck looks like this. So
No.
yeah.
But you could do the same thing too. You could go, oh, I can't bend, it barely bends at all there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
These truss rods here, the rod on the top is 1/4 by 1/8, and it's the quarter going up and down. And as you can see, I can easily flex that. So that's all you really, and you're not looking to bend or flex the neck so much that the steel bars or the carbon fiber bars will be impeded or will impede the neck. God bless you, Chris. So yeah, don't sweat it, man. Give it a try, and I think you'll really like it.
you know, when you're playing guitar and you grab the headstock and you do that on a bass,
Yeah.
and it goes.
Yeah,
like
you have way
like
more
a rubber
leverage.
band. Yeah. It's all about levers.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
Let's see here. How to mute a reverberating bolt-on neck. Maybe it has a cheap truss rod. Maybe. Or maybe it's got maybe the truss rod doesn't have any load on it and it's rattling around.
yeah, you can try that. Yeah.
How do you adjust carbon fiber rods? Generally, they're fixed in place. You don't.
But it will also have an adjustable truss rod in there.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Three Sons Guitars gave us $5 from Super Chat. Thank you, my friend. Good discussion. Got to go start on my great guitar build-off. Very cool.
There you go.
I would like to see pictures of your great guitar build-off guitar as you go. Necro Whisper, no relief is needed. Finally, we can agree on something. The flatter and straighter the neck, the better. Yes, I 100% agree with you on that. Let's see. You're too good for Coors Light.
Maybe Coors Light's too good for us.
Nah, I don't know. It's pretty good. CC Chicken wants to know, 0.8 tip paint gun only good for bursts?
Yeah, that's a really, really small tip. I think my little gun that I do bursts with is like a 1.0.
Okay.
And yeah, so 0.8 will probably do great bursts, but it won't hardly do anything else.
What's an airbrush generally?
Oh, I don't even know. Those
Which
are
is way too fine for a burst
even
as far as
smaller.
I'm concerned. Yeah.
So my gun will spray a pattern.
Your little detail gun?
My little detail gun, yeah, it's a jam gun. It's supposed to do door jams. So it'll do, couple 3-inch
That's the biggest?
pattern. That's the biggest
Okay.
pattern that it'll do. Yeah. But it's, you got to crank it up to make it do that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I have found that even with the big gun with and it's not a big orifice, a 1.4, you can throttle it way back.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and you can actually make it do some pretty fine stuff.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to you can turn the pressure down a little bit. The pressure's just really there to atomize the paint.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so you can turn the fan down, turn the amount of fluid, keep the air pressure about the same. Like Mike Learn comes over and does airbrush stuff, and I'm always amazed at how much pressure he's
bogging
running
that shit on there.
Yeah, running through his airbrush because it's all about fan and in paint volume.
Thank
more
you,
than
Doc.
air.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Sorry, Chris. Doc
It's all right.
just gave us $20.
Oh, cool. So, yeah.
What a lot of people forget about doing Sunburst is they aim the gun in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
They aim it away from the guitar, or they aim it directly straight down on the guitar, and then you get that hard line.
Yeah.
The way to do a burst is get your gun adjusted right
Yeah.
and come down to the side and aim into the center of the guitar.
Yeah, and you can draw, I always aim just right at the edge, even if I'm doing a wider burst. The other thing too is I always start with no paint, pull the trigger and then slowly go till I get the amount of paint that I want. It's easier to go that way than it is to go full paint. Holy shit, that's too much paint. That's too much paint. That's too much paint. To an acceptable level. I think it's easier to go more paint than less paint with it.
Yeah.
So
Randy King has a great question. And he says there's been a few questions about the Infinity Tools router bit. First, what size bit did you demo? Second, if I needed to use the bottom bearing, would I buy a shorter bit to make it safer? Randy, the Infinity bit I have been using quite a bit this week, right, Chris?
Uh-huh.
Mostly because this bad dude is not working like I want it to.
What do you think that weighs?
100 million pounds. Randy also accused us of being weak. Anyway, he said, do we even lift?
It's funny because, like a guitar body usually weighs like 4 pounds, 4 to 5. Let's just agree on that. This feels way heavier than a guitar body.
Yeah.
So, and maybe it's just, I think our scale's broken. Let's buy a guitar body.
Gotta be it.
Yeah.
So, Randy, the Infinity bits are so far so good. I really like them. The bit so Michael Miller sent me that bit, and he said, hey, I want to send you one of these bits. Pick which one you want. So I said, my first question to him was, do you work for Infinity Tools? He said, no, he did not. He just thought they were neat and wanted to send me one. So I picked the least expensive mega flush trim bit there was, which was the 1/2-inch shaft, 3/4-inch diameter cutter. That's 1 1/4, I think. It was $49. If he said that he worked for Infinity Tools, I'd have picked the most expensive one.
It would have looked like this.
Yeah. Because I want to try it out. But since he's just a guy just being cool, I'm like, well, I don't want to say, don't worry, dude. So it was very, very kind of him to send that to us, and I wanted to, but I don't want to put him in the lurch for that shit. So anyway, so I ordered the cheapest one there was, which was 3/4-inch cutting diameter, 1 1/4 tall, or 1 whatever it was tall. Having the exposed bit, I don't think is so. If you're using the bottom bearing, I don't think that's unsafe. You know what I mean? It's just kind of creepy. So keep your paws clear, or use blocks and sticks and things, and use starting posts on your router, and you'll be fine. Like I said, the reason that I don't like it is just because it gave me the heebie-jeebies. That's it. So
it does. Anytime I have to use that style bit, it creeps me out a little bit more than the other. I don't know why. I don't think it's inherently any more dangerous. Well, I'm not going to get my hands caught up in the tool.
You don't want to.
Yeah, that's always a requirement.
Yeah. Jay Pete sent us $5 in super chat. Thank you, Jay. Let's see. It's the girth that gets them. It's the girth that helps prevent tear out. That whole spiral upcut, downcut thing. That's like nothing compared to the diameter of the cutter. You want me to show you what I'm talking about? Let's go on one more field trip, Chris. One more field trip, and then we'll call it a night.
What are you going to do?
We're going to go to the shaper. I want to show you guys something. I'm not going to turn it on.
Okay.
We got one more field trip. I want to show you a really cool cutter, and then we're going to call it a night. Come on with me. Come on. Come on this way. It's not much further. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Come on. So this is a 2.5-inch cutter, and it's, as you can see, it's perfectly straight up and down. It's got 3 carbide cutting heads on it, and this will cut smooth as glass. The reason, and it will cut smooth as glass on figured woods too. The reason is not because it's got, you know, upcut, downcut, spiral cut. The reason is because it's so big around. Those 1/2-inch bits, they will never yield the same kind of smoothness as the big cutter. Cool. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and start drinking heavily. Chris is going to join me. So thank you to all of our sponsors: Flipside Music, the Great American Guitar Store, Bitterroot Guitars, Aquacoat, great guitar, Guitar Wood Experts. They're great guys too. Links in the description below to save you guys some money. If you haven't watched my Tamco video, go watch the Tamco video. If you are thinking about getting an infinity bit, please tell them that Matt at Texas Toast sent you, and we'll see if we can't make something happen there. Until next time, this is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that life is short. You might as well have a cool guitar. And if you're so smart, start your own YouTube channel. That's what I did. See you guys next time.
See you, everybody.